Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zang here, and I'm back with another battle for you guys. Since you guys are awesome and got 300 likes on last night's video, today I'm using the same team as yesterday with Gardevoir, Scrafty, Talonflame, Amoonguss, Mega Mawile, and Garchomp. Yesterday's battle, it was relatively one-sided when my opponent basically gave me a free turn. You can watch that battle. And I'm actually going to find an opponent right away, 1586 from Japan, Tokyo. And going into team preview, my opponent's team is going to be very interesting, actually. Mienshao, Gengar, Zoroark, Chandelure, Mawile, and Kangaskhan. A couple of interesting things to note here. First of all, Kangaskhan and Mawile, obviously, both Mega Pokemon, so my opponent's definitely going to bring one of the two. Though Gengar does have the option of being a Mega Pokemon as well. However, I suspect that in this case, it's not the Mega Pokemon. Mienshao, a very frail but fast fake outer. I actually like it a lot, and it offers a lot of offensive potential, especially with high jump kick. Zoroark is a Pokemon that I have not seen in VGC very often. It was used to success relatively well by Randy Qua, a Canadian player back in 2011, but of course that was a completely different VGC format. Chandelure, I think, is also a Pokemon that has actually a lot of potential, but isn't used as much because of weakness to common types like rock, water, and ground. So for team preview, obviously the first thing is I have to be careful of my opponent's Mega Pokemon. I think Scrafty can be pretty useful in this matchup, as it's super effective against Kangaskhan, Chandelure, Gengar, and Zoroark. But I'm going to have to watch out for that Mawile, obviously. I like Gardevoir here, too. Mawile is really the big threat. And so that kind of leads me to say I should probably bring my Garchomp. This is one of the cases where I want to bring a lot of my Pokemon. I am running out of time. I'm going to lead with Gardevoir and Scrafty and have Talonflame and Mawile in the back. Probably not the best of calls, but I was about to run out of time there, so I decided I'd rather just go with 4 I know I could play relatively well with. I think Garchomp should have been in this match, actually, because it's relatively bulky, can take my opponent's attacks and dish out some good damage, but we'll see whether I regret that decision or not. So let's see what my opponent chooses to lead with. So I'm going to go with my Gardevoir and Scrafty. Let me just lower the volume a bit. As my opponent goes with Chandelure and Kangaskhan, of course. The bluff of Zoroark is always real too, so I'm never actually sure whether my opponent has that Zoroark or not. I'm going to trace that Scrappy, not really going to matter here. As Scrafty does get the Intimidate off on both of my opponent's Pokemon. And obviously I have to watch out for Chandelure because it does have the super effective Shadow Ball. So I'm just going to protect turn 1 with Gardevoir and go for a Crunch onto Chandelure. You'd have to assume Kangaskhan's going to fake out Scrafty though, but let's see. So Kangaskhan's going to Mega Evolve right from the bat. And the obvious play here is the fake out onto Scrafty and the Shadow Ball onto Gardevoir. Not really much I can do to prevent that, sadly. But I'm going to go to Protect to Scout with that Gardevoir to protect it from any super effective Shadow Balls. As you see here, Kangaskhan is going to fake out Scrafty. Gonna deal a relative amount, not very much. Oh, wow! Chandelure going for the Imprison. Not something I anticipated. But, okay. Most likely to block my Trick Room here. Yep, as you see there, Chandelure blocking Trick Room. Very nice move. Here I'm just gonna go for a Psychic onto Chandelure and a Drain Punch onto Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan at -1 is not a very big threat, quite honestly, especially against my two Pokemon. Chandelure going for the Protect there. Good play by my opponent. Kangaskhan most likely, going for the Power Up Punch. That's going to give me some trouble. Onto Scrafty. So it's going to bring itself to +1 after this turn. You see, they're not doing very much damage to Scrafty, but a boosted Kangaskhan is never fun to deal with. Gardevoir's just going to Psychic into that Protect as Scrafty goes for the Drain Punch. And it should do around 50%. Oh, wow. Actually did a bit more than I anticipated. So I'm going to take some health back with that Drain Punch here. I'm going to switch into Mawile, I think, and then go for another Drain Punch onto this Kangaskhan. Switching in Mawile brings that Kangaskhan down to -0 effectively, so it won't be able to pick up any KOs. Though this is kind of risky because Chandelure may have chosen to go with the Fire-type attack, and if that is the case, I am in some trouble. Switching into a Mawile on a Chandelure is never a very fun play. So far, Chandelure is revealed Imprison. Oh, wow, Facade, okay. I will take that, no problem. But let's see what Chandelure does. Okay, good. It went for the Shadow Ball, not the Heat Wave. So that should do a hefty amount to Mawile, but Mawile is able to hang on with a bit. And this Drain Punch does pick up the KO on Kangaskhan. So that's one of the things I want to talk about, Facade Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan in VGC 2014, the most common moveset is, the Fake Out Return Sucker Punch, Power Up Punch one, but people often like using kind of gimmicky, not gimmicky, but like to opt with other moves. For example, you just saw there the Facade, a move that I'm actually not a very big fan of because it kind of relies on your opponent burning you or paralyzing you. As you see there, the damage output was a lot less because my opponent was kind of relying on that. I'm going to Mega Evolve into Mawile here. I can't protect because Chandelure did go for the Imprison. I'd assume Chandelure is going to want to protect this turn. So I'm going to Mega Evolve, and I'm going to... If that Chandelure does Heat Wave, though, I'm in some trouble. So I'm going to just go for the obvious Sucker Punch onto... Actually, this is tough. Yeah, I'm just going to Sucker Punch the Chandelure and Crunch the Gengar. It's not a very big deal if Chandelure does not protect. Does protect, because obviously the Gengar is going to want to target down the Mawile. So Mawile's going to Mega Evolve here in its full shiny form of very bright pink. As I think that's Chandelure. Yeah, that is Chandelure going for the protect. So this is one of the cases where I don't want to risk too much. Oh, wow. As Gengar actually goes for a Focus Blast. That was not what I was expecting. It's going to pick up the KO onto my Scrafty. Surprising move there. But a good one for my opponent. So that's one of the cases. I didn't anticipate the Focus Blast. Otherwise, I would have targeted the Gengar predicting the Protect. But kind of obvious play by my opponent there in terms of protecting the Chandelure, and that cost me. Nonetheless, I am still not in the worst of positions given my two Pokemon. Here I'm going to go for a Sucker Punch onto Chandelure and a Brave Bird onto Gengar. Both of my opponent's Pokemon are very frail Ghost types, and my priority move should be able to pick up knockouts. Chandelure opting to go for another Protect here. Let's see if that Gengar is Focus Sashed. It most likely is, and if that is the case, I'm going to be in some trouble. Oh, but it's a Zoroark! Suddenly that makes more sense. That makes a lot of sense, actually. I don't think Gengar actually even gets Focus Blast, so I'm not sure. Gengar and Zoroark are both Pokemon I am not familiar with at all. But that makes a lot more sense on why my opponent made the play he did the last turn. However, I am perfectly content with that, especially as I know my opponent's last Pokemon now will be an actual Gengar. So here, given that I know the Chandelure protected the last few turns, I'm just going to Sucker Punch the Gengar here and Brave Bird the Chandelure. The Protect play last turn was smart because even if you go for a double Protect and it fails, it still allows you to blow any Sucker Punches off. But this time I switched the switched the attacks up. So I targeted the Chandelure with this Brave Bird, as it actually does not manage to KO. It's a very bulky Chandelure. Oh wow, and Gengar going for the substitute. Nice. Wow, it's actually leftovers too. I have not seen that. Really. Wait, what? Did I just see a double leftovers? Oh, it's Black Sludge. Whoops. Sorry, I was not reading the message at the time. Okay, so here I'm in a predicament. You'd have to assume Chandelure is going to want to protect yet again. So I'm going to Iron Head and Brave Bird this Gengar, I think. Yeah. I'm in a pretty tough position right now. Yeah, Chandelure does go for another Protect. So I'm going to Brave Bird to knock out the substitute. Let's see if Gengar opts to substitute himself. That would actually be the smart play. There's actually no other play that makes sense, so let's see. I'm going to take some more damage from Recoil. Oh, but it just went for the Shadow Ball. Let's see who he targeted. Oh, that's a little Mawile. Really? So I did not play that very well, as Gengar's going to heal some more with that Black Sludge. Yeah, I guess I should have just Sucker Punched, but I really thought another substitute was coming up. So I'm kind of just misplaying right now, kind of over-predicting my opponent. That's not a term I like to use very much, but in this case, I am just not making the best plays. I keep on expecting my opponent to make all these incredible plays that I have in my head, but that's just not the case. I'm going to bring out Gardevoir here, though. And I'm going to go for the Psychic. onto... I'm not really sure how bulky that Gengar is, but it can probably take a Brave Bird. I'm gonna Brave Bird the Chandelure and Psychic the Gengar. Okay, that was not the right play at all. Yeah, I'm not sure what I was thinking of there. So one of the cases, once again, where I'm just making plays that don't make very much sense. I'm going to get this knockout onto the Chandelure, but you have to assume Gengar is going for the Shadow Ball onto Gardevoir. However, I don't think Talonflame will faint from recoil here. Let's see. Yeah, the Shadow Ball is coming out. Let's see who Gengar targets. Oh, onto the Talonflame. Perfect. Okay, this Psychic should knock out the Gengar then. And let's see. And it picks up the knockout. Nice. So despite all these, I think, suboptimal plays, I still managed to squeak out with the win. A lot of the plays were what we call, like, you know, low risk, but yeah, low risk plays where there's not much you lose if it doesn't go your way, but there's not much you can gain either. In VGC, it's all about, you know, making the best plays possible, and in this case, I didn't want to take any big risks. I don't think it didn't really help me. It hurt me more than it helped me, but in the long run, I still ended up winning the game because of it. So it's one of the cases where even if you're not making the perfect plays every turn, for example, my opponent definitely had some turns where if I made, you know, the better move, I would have had a huge advantage. But even without doing those, I still managed to end up with the 1-0 win. And I assume my Talonflame would have been able to KO with the Brave Bird regardless in the end of the game, but that was a very close game regardless. Anyway, that's it for today's battle, guys. 300 likes for battle to be posted tomorrow. Otherwise, I'll upload whenever I can. And that's it. I'll see you next time. Peace.